Hello everyone, Bashar here. So before I make entrance, I'll directly delve into what the video is about first. That's one of my biases, I think. So this video is about how mace wearers do bosses, right? I mean, I would say warriors, but it's not necessarily warriors, right? I mean, gambling legionnaires and tacticians have been known to use maces, and of course, there is no literal limitation, but generally this would regard warriors, and of course the vice versa is also, the reverse is also correct. Not all warriors have to wear maces, but generally the mace wearer's approach to bossing is similar. There is a boss killer ability, be it Hammer of the Gods as you see here, or perfect strike. The idea is generally to heavy stun the boss first, then empower your Seismic Cry, then you combine it with Infernal Cry, and then you do a very heavy hitting ability. As I said, be it Hammer of the Gods or what was the name again? The other thing, Perfect Strike. Yeah. So guys, how does it work? So I have a rather long Summit of Kitava build guide video, and in that video I discussed this, but of course after that video I have played quite a bit and I have improved upon it a little bit, both my gear and my knowledge. And that video is, I think, about 50 minutes long, so I don't want you to sift through it, so I'm making a special video. So guys, in this video, as I said, we will be discussing how we do bosses. So thing is, guys, normal mapping, right? Most people, what they do is leap slam, they prime enemies for stun, and then you bone shatter. Kind of everything dies on screen, but of course doesn't have to be that way. That's the general approach. But against the bosses, you might have noticed that leap slam is not enough to prime for stun, right? And bone shatter is not a boss killer, so you need a different approach. The general idea is to use Earthshatter mostly. Most people use that. So guys, Earthshatter does this, right? Put some spikes, and those spikes deal damage. And whenever you war cry near the spikes, it detonates all of the spikes to deal their damage instantly. So how do we go about it? So there is one confusing thing here that was confusing me. So I'm thinking it could confuse maybe some other people. So that's why I'm going to explain this. So guys, with Seismic Cry, it does very little damage, as you can see, and has a lot of stun buildup. 400% more than normal. So you might think that you need to stun with Seismic Cry, right? Even though it says there, right? I was getting confused about this. So the thing is, you don't have to stun with Seismic Cry, right? Seismic Cry works when you have heavy stunned enemies nearby. So you can heavy stun them however you like, right? But if they are within the radius and you do Seismic Cry, then Seismic Cry will empower your next slam to do an aftershock. So that's how it works. So what you do is you put up the spikes, right? And then you explode them, right? And as you can see, that will be a lot of stun build up. So the boss will hopefully get stunned. If it doesn't, you just repeat the same thing. And that should heavy stun the boss. And when the boss is heavy stunned, you use Seismic Cry once again, because the good thing about Seismic Cry is it doesn't go into cooldown if it doesn't empower, right? So you do this, you get, let's say, 60% heavy stun build up, no problem, because Seismic Cry is not on cooldown, right? You put up more spikes, detonate them. This time the boss will get heavy stunned. You do your Seismic Cry, you then do your Infernal Cry, and then you rain the Hammer of the Gods. If you recall from my power video, guys, unique monsters always have 20 power, which means they will give you 20 glory of getting heavy stunned. So guys, whenever you stun a unique, no matter how much glory you had prior to that, you will always have enough glory to do your hammer, right? So you don't have to enter the fight with glory at the ready. So guys, about having glory at the ready. So for example, if you are doing your map normally, right, you don't save your boss for last or whatever it is, right? You do your map. and then you get to the boss, and if that happens within a 30-second frame, then your glory will not deteriorate, so you will actually have glory. So what you will do is, guys, you go into the fight, right? You bring the hammer of glory down on the boss, right? If you are using hammer of glory, that is, of course. Then you start putting up the spikes, but you do not detonate the spikes for a short while. Why? Because the Hammer of the Gods will land, and then there is a 18% chance. I mean, if you are following my tree, if you are getting these points, these give you 18% chance of getting an aftershock. You wait for the aftershock. Why do you wait for the aftershock? Because as long as Hammer of the Gods is active, you cannot build up glory. So if you actually heavy stun with Hammer of the Gods itself, 0 glory built, right? So that's not what you want. You want to wait until the Hammer of the Gods is over. So you bring it down, you wait 2.5 seconds, right, for it to come down. Depends on your gear, of course. I mean, you can just check it here, 2.5 seconds for me. And then you wait a little bit more, like half a second, maybe at most, for the aftershock to occur. Then you can safely detonate the Earthshatters again. Explode, right? You didn't get heavy stun, okay. You put up more, you do it. Heavy stun, now Seismic Cry. Seismic Cry will empower, and you can tell by it going into cooldown. Infernal Cry, and then you bring down the Hammer of the Gods. So why is it important that you do this combo, guys? Because this will increase your damage like 5 times or so. I mean, if you don't do this, your Hammer of the Gods will not do much, right? I mean, those huge, one-shotting hammers are actually not one-shotting, right? They are actually 2 or 3-shotting. Let me show you. So what Seismic Cry, what Infernal Cry does is, guys, it gives you 140% damage up, right? Because 20 power for a unique enemy, you do your shout per 5 power, 35%, 35 times 4 is 140, so 140% damage up from Infernal Cry, and Seismic Cry will allow you to do an aftershock, right? An aftershock is the same amount of damage in the same area. So, double damage. So, guys, 140% bonus times another 100% bonus. So, 2.40 times 2, 4.80, right? So, instead of, doing your regular hammer, you will be doing 5 hammers at once when you do this. So, if you skip this, the boss fight will be very miserable. So, you have to do it right, as I said. And thing is, guys, for example, if it's a boss that takes some time to get ready, like, for example, the Executioner, some small amount of, speech, etc., like Lachlan, right? You can put the spikes up prematurely because their lifetime is about 9 seconds, so they will last quite some while. So, for example, guys, I came here, Lachlan is doing his speech, and 1, 2, 3, okay? And the moment that he spawns, I detonate them. Like any war cry detonates them, but Infernal Cry has a cooldown, so you wanna do the Seismic Cry. And then if you did get your heavy stun, you do one more Seismic Cry that will empower you, then Infernal Cry, then bring the hammer down. I mean, if you have pretty good gear, that should kill bosses. And I'm talking about, of course, tier 15 map bosses with maximum difficulty. So the non-existence of my video editing skills, I have cleared up to the boss, so we can engage a boss now. It's a tier 15 rare map, as you can see. Let's go in. So I don't have glory prematurely, obviously. What's going on? Okay, go. So I put the spikes up. Okay, now she's heavy stunned. Beautiful, right? So this is one of the weaker bosses HP wise. you can you might have to do the same thing twice. And when you heavy stun the boss at first, you heavy stun, right? You do your Seismic Cry, you do your Infernal Cry, you bring the hammer down, right? They survive. And then their stun bar will actually not be yellow, but orange for a while, right? That means recently heavy stunned and your stun buildup is being penalized. It lasts about 5 seconds or so, I think. So it could be a decent idea to, wait that out. Or, if the boss is on low HP, you can just, keep doing Earthshatters and, exploding them. You can just kill it that way, right? But if it's, like 50%, there is no need. Just keep putting up your spikes. And you can have like, I don't know how many. You can have a lot of spikes active at one point. Spike duration is 6 seconds, I'm sorry, not maximum spikes. I have seen it somewhere. I think it was 9 then. I remember a 9 there. Yeah. So you just spam this and you wait for the heavy stun bar to turn yellow again instead of orange. Then that means you are going to build up the heavy stun normally. Or if, as I said, if you are feeling impatient, you can do you can just explode whatever you have. And guys, there is one more little trick I can give you. So the thing is, take a look at leap slam here. You might have noticed that I did leap at some point. That was on purpose, not accidental. Take a look at this. Consumes fully broken armor on enemies to cause 500 more % stun buildup. So what's the deal here, guys? So Earthshatter will almost always have Splinter in them, right? That is 95%, I would say, of players use Splinter in their Earthshatter to break the armor. So, and imagine, guys, the spikes deal damage, I explode them, they deal damage. So the armor will be broken in no time, right? It will take about a few seconds. So you put up your spikes, you detonate them, and they will have broken armor, and then you will jump on them. So that will build stun, 6 times more than normal, right? But of course, you want to have broken armor again. So the general idea is, guys, spike, 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 detonate, right? Then you will get the broken armor on the guy. So you need to take a look at the stun buildup at that point, because if it's going to get heavy stun, then you keep up doing spikes. But if it's built up like to half, right, you then do a leap slam, you get a nice chunk of heavy stun buildup, right? Then you do the spikes again. You detonate them, they will get heavy stunned, you will have broken armor as well. Then you do your Seismic Cry, then you do your Infernal Cry, and then you will be ready to drop the Hammer of the Gods on them. So guys, how does this apply to perfect strikes, right? So you don't need glory for perfect strikes, but the Seismic Cry is used by them as well. So the same principle applies, right? You do the Earthshatters, you do the Seismic Cry to detonate them, you heavy stun the boss, then you do Seismic Cry, Infernal Cry, and you do a single perfect strike. That would be enough for a kill, right? Its damage can go actually really insane. So what's why Hammer of the Gods instead of perfect strike? So guys, Hammer of the Gods has a very nice benefit of having a huge area of effect, right? If the boss is not teleporting away like the corrupted fungi druid guy, you will hit them, right? Almost all the time, because bosses are not moving around that much. But with perfect strike, they have to stand still, right? You can of course do it within the time frame that you heavy stun them, but you can miss, and then all the setup goes away. But of course, it's a nice ability, and it does hit harder. So guys, pinnacle bosses, same deal. And thing is, this build has a lot of HP and HP regen. Take a look at this, 364, and when I do leap slam and heavy descent, I have 570 life regen. So you can play the long game. There is no need to rush. So you put up your, it's the same deal, just repeated multiple times. You do your Earthshatters, then you do your Seismic Cry, heavy stun them, then another Seismic Cry after the heavy stun has been inflicted, Infernal Cry, and rain the Hammer of the Gods on them. Then keep putting up more spikes, wait for the heavy stun penalty to get over, right? And you can tell about that by the stun bar being orange or yellow. Yellow means you are building up naturally, normally, right? And orange means you are building at about a quarter rate, I think. I'm not very sure about the exact amount, but it does build much, much slower. So any damage that you will be doing there will not be wasted, right? But any stun build up that you will build there will be mostly wasted, because you can just wait a few seconds and do it again, right? And if you are using Hourglass in your Hammer of the Gods like me, your Hammer of the Gods will have a little bit of a cooldown on it anyway. Which reminds me to tell you, I mean, guys, if you are doing a map with cooldown penalties and you are using Hourglass like me in Hammer of the Gods, then you should not do the initial Hammer of the Gods move. So, for example, guys, you have Glory, right? You enter the boss and you bring down a hammer, right? That's just free damage. If you are using Hourglass, you should not do that, because it will go into a huge cooldown, right? I mean, like 50 seconds or so, it will be terrible. So just let go of that. That's just some additional nice damage, but it's not a must, as you just saw. And of course, stuff like additional monster HP, etc., can become annoying with this build. But as I said, this is not a dead eye, right? We are not afraid to play the long game. You just have to be careful with bosses like, Executioner, who does he does a similar ability to Hammer of the Gods, which will one-shot you, which will kind of one-shot any build, I think. The slamming Apex of Filth boss, that's also problematic. But otherwise, if you are not getting one-shotted, this build will, quite endure. And most builds that play Maces should be tanky. So guys, yeah, that's the long of it. The short of it is multiple Earthshatters, explode them, inflict fully broken armor, leap slam, get some more heavy stun build up, do a few more Earthshatters, do Seismic Cry, heavy stun them, another heavy Seismic Cry to empower it, Infernal Cry, and bring down your Hammer of the Gods. If they are close to dying, do a few more Earthshatters and kill them. If they are not close to dying, repeat the same performance after taking about a 5-second break. I mean, put up the Earthshatters, of course, but don't detonate them, because your heavy stun build-up will be penalized. I hope this explains it properly, because, this is one of the things that has not been explained properly. This is, I would say, similar to, Frenzy Charges with the Lightning Spear build. So yeah, that's why I thought doing this video could help a few of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.